Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is SCP-001 The Scarlet King. SCP Animation by SCP Explain Story and Animation. Highly suggest coming over here, hitting the subscribe, hitting like. Let's get right on into this. I'm kind of interested. Of course, we learned about the Seven Brides, SCP-237. We learned that 1 through 6 ended up giving birth. Number 7 is kind of stuck being given a drug by SCP-3000, makes her forget, so she's getting tortured for all time in order to kind of prevent the birth of the final kid of the Scarlet King, which we actually have to react to the who are the kids of the of the Scarlet King, which I'm kind of interested in. But let's get right into this.
The SCP Foundation is no stranger to pure evil. Whether it's a reptile that wants to end all life,
What? Hold on. Oh wait. Sorry about the captions, y'all. There's an SCP that's just a lizard. And why is the belly out? Also, I do kind of like the goofy looking lizard, how it doesn't look. I will say I like animation for this one. Normally we're doing colored pictures. So seeing this, actually pretty good. Uh, but okay, so there's a lizard.
to pure evil. Whether it's a reptile that wants to end all life, a sadistic old man with his own torture dimension,
Okay, I didn't know the old man was. Okay, yeah, 106, right? Yeah.
or the personification of death itself lurking beyond a limestone cavern. But what if there was something even worse out there? The embodiment of chaos and cruelty, existing across multiple realities and dimensions. And what if it was coming for us? This is the Scarlet King.
Whoa, okay. He actually looks sick. Why all the eyes though?
Believed by many to be the ultimate evil behind much of the trouble the Foundation has faced, and some even speculate that fighting him was the reason the Foundation was created in the first place. But what exactly is the Scarlet King? He's known by many names, almost always including some allusion to the color red, and then a reference to royalty or power. Harak, Kaharak, the Red Shah, the Crimson Khan.
The Crimson Khan is a perfect name. Honestly, that sounds like an amazing like nickname. Cause Khan, Genghis Khan, but also the Crimson in front of it, and Crimson's color of blood. That would just be like an amazing name.
ETE 616 Mendez Ex Machina,
That is a mouthful.
the Laharaja, and, of course, SCP-001, to name a few.
SCP-1 sounds like almost overdone. Uh, because I did a reaction to SCP-1, which was the Gate Guardian. In that one, though, we got introduced to our SCP such as Cain, Abel, uh, the Sword. I can't remember what its name, what number it was, but how many different ones are there?
Like many of the Foundation's mysterious enemies, stories about his true nature and origins abound and are often contradictory. According to the official SCP-001 files of Tufto's proposal, symbology of the Scarlet King has existed in multiple cultures throughout history, with the king often depicted the same way, as a huge red demonic figure, often wearing a gold crown or other headdress indicating royalty.
I, if he's in multiple different ones, I don't think he would have gold. Gold, I believe, was a little bit later as a very important thing, because it's the same thing. I'll point back towards the Gate Guardian. In that one, it was very spiritual esque in its way with Cain and Abel, Garden of Eden, the Gate Guardian itself being an angel of God. It starts with a U. I can't ever say it right. With this being said, if he's going to have a crown on top of his head, it would probably make a lot more sense for it to be something a little bit different than gold. Uh, especially because if he's gonna be Crimson-esque, and with the earlier depiction with all the eyes in him, it still wouldn't make sense for gold. Uh, but if he's in multiple different things, when I was reacting to SCP-237 by the Volgun, it seemed like it correlated more towards the factory. Which, if it's towards the factory, with the cult and them having to do the ritual, having seven, where does the Scarlet King really fit in? Because that's not making so much sense right now.
He shows up looking similarly within different cultures' mythologies, despite existing at different points in history or them not having the means to communicate with one another. A number of entities that the SCP Foundation is familiar with are believed to be somehow connected to the Scarlet King, including SCP-2317, a wooden door leading to the realm of a being known as the Devourer, who's expected to escape and cause an apocalyptic event in the next 30 years. But really, there's no way of knowing just
Who is that guy? Uh, oh, wait, okay. I'm gonna tie this back to the other 001, the Gate Guardian. We seen that there was a thing, in the future that it got intercepted in the present about the Gate Guardian moving. It put everybody on high alert. Maybe when Gate Guardian has sent that out, it was because that one came out. Oh, and they're all okay. Yeah, it's all making sense now.
how many SCPs are directly connected to the Scarlet King. Strangely, the Foundation's official file on the Scarlet King once designated his containment class as Keter, but that has since been downgraded to Safe. According to the file, any attempt to change this designation is likely to lead to horrifying results. It is widely known that the Scarlet King still has considerable
Yes, see, that's the Gate Guardian I was talking about.
influence over a number of groups, individuals, and anomalies in our universe. And if ever he made his way into our universe, it would likely lead to the irreversible damage of reality itself. So then why Safe? And why are the O5 Council so adamant that it remain that way? Getting to the bottom of this mystery is exactly why we're here today. But to fully grasp the true nature of the Scarlet King, we must first understand the man whose life and fate have always been tied to it, Dr. Robert Montauk. If that name...
That's why it's called Operation Montauk. Okay, I kept asking, what is Operation Montauk within the Seven Brides video I did. It kept saying that we have to continuously do Operation Montauk to number 7 in order to prevent the uh, Scarlet King from arriving, because number 7 has the final child. That makes perfect sense. Okay.
feels oddly familiar to you. It's because of its association with one of the Scarlet King's most recent attempts to enter our reality.
Yeah.
SCP-231. This SCP, often referred to as the Brides of the Scarlet King, was formed of 7 women. 7, by the way, being an extremely significant number for the King, all kidnapped by the most recent in a long line of the King's devoted cults known as the Children of the Scarlet King. Each of these 7 unfortunate women were impregnated with anomalous horrors, such as the infamous SCP-682, and every time one of these horrors
was SCP-682. Also, I just realized everything that was said about him is 7. And he's depicted as a demon, in a way. He has gold on his head. Legit, what they could be talking about is that the Crimson King is... Oh my god, it's legit a biblical reference. It just clicked in my head. He's the fallen angel. He's the fallen angel, and the destroyer that's supposed to come out of the giant door, that's the beast. Okay.
were birthed. A catastrophe occurred and the mother died. At the time, Dr. Montauk was a prominent researcher studying this anomaly, and as 6 catastrophes had already occurred, Pressure was mounting to figure out a way to prevent the final birth. But as he was working on the issue, Dr. Montauk was struck with a personal tragedy: the mysterious disappearance of his 14-year-old brother Jacob. In his fear and anger, Montauk believed that this must have something to do with the Scarlet King and his disciples. Wanting revenge, Montauk proposed an idea so horrifying that the details were never made public. A procedure known as 110 Montauk, to be performed on the final bride at regular intervals. However, this wasn't the end of Dr. Montauk's fraught relationship with the Scarlet King. It was just the beginning. To give you some perspective on just how dangerous the Scarlet King is, the SCP Foundation and the Global Occult Coalition decided to put aside their differences and form a joint effort to stamp out the children of the Scarlet King.
Okay, who's that secondary organization? And now putting together even more pieces. So the doctor that made 110 Montauk specifically made it to torture the last bride simply because it's his way of getting a little bit of revenge for his 14-year-old brother going missing. And now it makes sense why, instead of him doing it all the time, he instead gets D-Class in, and why, if he attempts to not do it or somebody does anything to try and prevent it, they are immediately either terminated or just simply moved and given the SCP-3000 drug.
They were successful in this mission, and even managed to capture the children's leader, a mysterious man named Depeche Spivak. Dr. Montauk, who became the lead researcher on 231 and 2317, was naturally the first choice for interviewing Depeche about the true nature of the children and of the Scarlet King. Dr. Montauk could never be the impartial interviewer that the SCP Foundation wanted, though. The suspicion that the Scarlet King or the children had something to do with the loss of his younger brother still lingered just beneath the surface. Like a lot of cult leaders, Depeche was extremely cryptic in his answers to Dr. Montauk's questioning. He'd already heard of the doctor from the reputation of the horrifying Montauk procedure, and was surprised to see him so calm and courteous in person. A few key facts about the king and his cult were revealed in the first few rounds of questioning. The children had once worked with the Serpent's Hand before being excommunicated for their allegiance to the king, and they had...
Who's the Serpent's Hand? Why am I feeling like there's like so many, what's the word I'm thinking of? So many different olive branches that are all supposed to be leading into this one thing that, oh, I'm just not informed enough. That's all it is. I need to get more in depth with this.
Stolen sacred texts from the mystical Wanderer's Library to assist in their summoning rituals. Depeche also revealed that the Scarlet King is bound by 3 laws: the law of blood, the law of concrete, and the law of howling. Dr. Montauk, confused and frustrated by Depeche's secrecy, had to learn more. He found an old memoir from a former member of the Children of the Scarlet King, Jack Hirsch, who had the ability to invade the minds of people from the past and experience what they experienced. He recounted a battle between the Scarlet King and his followers, and a group of time-traveling Turkmen warriors from SCP-3838. Hurst saw both
SCP-3838. 2 time traveling. Okay, that's a little bit confusing about how there was a member that can see through the minds of people in the past. It time travel stuff always gets iffy because I try remembering dates and all, but that just seems way too convoluted here.
Both sides of the battle. From the perspective of the Children of the Scarlet King, their lord ruled over them from an immense fortress embedded in a volcano. From the perspective of the Turkmen, the children were starved and beaten peasants, commanded by the king's voice in the roaring howl of the wind. Montauk also found extensive records of summoning rituals performed by various Scarlet King-aligned cults. Interestingly, some of them incorporated the use of carved SCP Foundation symbols. What could this mean? Montauk returned again to Depeche, who finally gave him the truth about the law of blood. This is the law of the Scarlet King. It's defined by poverty, violence, starvation, hate, and most of all, fear. Like the serfs in the Middle Ages, persecuted by and subjected to violence from the nobles. To the children of the Scarlet King, this sense of holy pain and awe is the only way to live. The alternative is the law of...
That that sounds a little confusing to me because my brain immediately thought of, so it's a way of like finding almost like a law and punishment, or almost like how a masochist thinks of pain and all.
concrete, which means the modern age
Defined by empty safety and false comfort. My brain's immediately going to the safe. Whenever something's classified as safe, it's not really safe. So it gives you almost a false comfort because you're seeing, hey, this thing is safe. But as I was told about in the last video I did about the different classifications, there's a necklace basically that will heal you until it overheals you and turns you into a monstrosity. That isn't really safe. Really, that's what immediately comes to my mind with false comfort.
empty safety and false comfort. Buildings, easy to access food, healthcare, knowledge, technology. This is everything that the Scarlet King despises. But the mystery only deepened as Montauk found files from a former Foundation operative by the name of Agent de Beauvoir. Montauk learned that the Scarlet King didn't seem to appear until after the Foundation was created. And in fact, it seemed that the greater interest the Foundation took in the Scarlet King, the more powerful he became. How could this be? Things were...
Okay, there's a lot there. That I can't remember exactly the words that I'm trying to put in this, but it's one of those things of something doesn't exist until the more you think about it. I remember there was a horror movie, and within that horror movie, the less you paid attention to the creature, the less power it had over you. It's kind of the same type of judgment that's going on here. It wasn't until this organization that is meant to catalog all the almost supernatural stuff, and help people not only not be affected by it, prevent these things from actually doing anything to you, that the big bad itself, the Crimson, or the, well, I said Crimson for the Scarlet King, uh, kind of manifested itself. After it manifested itself, then it is able to slowly make its way, and the more research that he's doing on it, the more powerful it's getting. And since it now has its own, almost like a chapter that is constantly praising it and viewing it as a religious belief, is also drawing power from it as well.
Are also getting stranger on a personal level for Dr. Montauk. Depeche repeatedly pressed him about his brother's disappearance and the Montauk procedure during the interviews. Little by little, it was beginning to take its toll. The questions still plagued him. What was the law of howling? Who or what really is the Scarlet King? How did he come to be? Montauk's search was causing him to act more like the children of the Scarlet King, ranting about the horrors of the modern world, how all of us are living a lie, how the only honest way to live is suffering under the dominion of the Scarlet King.
That's the law of blood. It's almost like a recruitment strategy. It wears you down, and anytime that you're trying to find the questions instead of getting the answer, it just draws you in, which is exactly what I feel happens to so many of the people within SCP community. They get questions like I did, and then they get dragged into it.
This philosophy is summed up in the words of one cultist named Arya Dene Cartwright, who said, "We must learn what it is to die, to be enslaved, truly, brutally enslaved, with no compassion or compunction from our masters. We must learn what it is to be taken towards a single purpose, to know and truly understand our lack of agency. We must be beholden to the words of gods and darkness, the tempest-tossed refuse of a race of fools. We must kill modernity, postmodernity, with all its analysis and sneering observation. There is only one rule, the rule of chaos, for humanity, for life, for the Scarlet King. Basically, anytime humanity tries to exert control over the world, the Scarlet King gets stronger. Every time they try to understand or organize or categorize their world, the Scarlet King gets stronger. As colonial and imperial powers conquered and invaded lands like India, Africa, and South America, and subjugated their beliefs under Western ideas, the Scarlet King grew stronger. Montauk was beginning to truly understand the power of his enemy here, and even worse, he was starting to understand his part in it. Montauk, slowly being driven mad by the knowledge he was gaining, realized that the Scarlet King's greatest enemy, the SCP Foundation, was also its greatest asset. Every time they tried to understand the monster, to give him some kind of comprehensible form, they only made him more powerful. Just in time with Montauk's new revelation, a red crack appeared in the wall of Depeche Spivak's containment cell, a portal to the realm of the Scarlet King. Foundation staff found they were unable to enter the cell, and Depeche demanded a final interview with Montauk. With no other options, the Foundation relented. In their very last conversation, Depeche congratulated Montauk for finally understanding what he was dealing with. The Scarlet King, Depeche told him, is an idea, a concept. He is a being given power through the conflict between the old and the new. This is the law of the Howling. The Scarlet King's endless rage at the direction the world and humanity has taken. The King, according to Depeche, hated the Foundation's belief that science and rationality was the true path to progress. The King saw this as little more than petty arrogance. The reason Montauk's procedure on the final bride of the Scarlet King was so effective was because it wasn't born out of science. It was born out of hate, pain, the desire for revenge, and in the Scarlet King's realm, be all there is. Unless our world, and especially the Foundation, changed its course, the Scarlet King's rise to absolute power would be inevitable. Montauk, his mind practically gone, asked one last question. Did the children or the Scarlet King take his brother, Jacob? When Depeche told him the answer, no. And in response, Montauk shot him dead. Finally,
You know what? Valid crash out. But you're telling me all the thinking I was just doing, and none of it's true. You're telling me this guy is just an idea, a concept, and that there's nothing you can really do to stop him. And in all reality, anything you do to try and stop him just makes him stronger. So the only way to take power away from him is to go ahead and do what it is that he wants done. It is cheap. Cheap is the word I'm thinking of. It's not that it's not interesting to learn about. When I say cheap, I specifically mean that it's almost like a character that has hacks. Like whenever you play a game and somebody's hacking, all you go is, oh, that's cheap, because you know it's not a real win or anything, because there's no way of stopping them. That's what I mean. Figured I'd explain it in case somebody in my comments decides to, oh, how are you going to call somebody's idea cheap? I'm not calling their idea cheap. I'm saying that there's nothing that can really be done.
Bringing an end to the children of the Scarlet King. In light of his new revelations, Montauk begged the O5 Council to change their ways in order to avoid letting the Scarlet King break into our reality. They refused, saying Montauk's ideas were too radical. But they knew they couldn't just ignore the threat posed by the Scarlet King. They would have to take some steps. And so the O5 Council of the SCP Foundation the most powerful and secretive group in the entire world, in order to prevent the most dangerous threat that humanity has ever known from breaking into our reality and enslaving all the people of the world, finally did something. They changed the classification of the Scarlet King from Keter to safe, and made its description on the official Foundation files deliberately vague. The O5 Council thinks this will be enough to stop the Scarlet King's power from continuing to grow, but Montauk knew it wasn't enough. He had seen the truth, and he couldn't unsee it. While the
Is that Garfield? What is Garfield here? What in the... I'm sorry, John.
wasn't enough. He had seen the truth, and he couldn't unsee it. While the Foundation was going on as normal, Montauk grew to despise them. He knew the Scarlet King was coming. He knew that he couldn't be stopped, and that our whole reality was little more than sitting ducks. Dr. Robert Montauk is no longer a researcher for the SCP Foundation. No, Dr. Robert Montauk chose a different path. He's now a child of the Scarlet King.
I was just about to say, he ended the last one. He's about to make a new one whose probably entire thing is stopping him in a way.
A devotee of madness, hate, and chaos. You can't beat the Scarlet King after all. And as the old adage goes, if you can't beat him, join him. Now go watch SCP-682.
What is that? SCP-682. Ways SCP Foundation tried to kill hard-to-destroy reptile? Someone to watch over us too. Okay, both of those sound interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, my name's been Killer Bear. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, while you're over here on my channel, please hit the like, subscribe, go down to the comments, tell me what it is you'd like to see next. Also, if you look in the description, you'll find a link to this video, so you can go over here, like, subscribe, share his video around, share my video around. Right here is a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Right here is where you can subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!